the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Alaja Nima Akashat. Zubiri, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing assistant birthday game. And I want to wish our dearest colleague and sister, Miriam Longe, a happy birthday. Today's her birthday. Miriam, you're just a sweetheart. Thank you for being queen of empathy. I wrote Steez, but she's queen of empathy. You know, she's just there. Just kind, loving. I see all that you do. God bless you.
Okay. Hello, Ramatu.
Hello. Happy birthday, Miriam.
Miriam Longe.
I thought she still had a lot to say. Yes, you just paused.
Exactly.
I thought I was chopping into your time.
You're always chopping into everybody's time.
I did not chop today.
I have to say. And she respected the time. You now come and make
I'm telling you.
Ramatu, how you doing, Jerry?
I'm fine. Happy birthday, sweet, loving lady. My fellow Hausa, northern sister. As I've been on the show, she has been nothing but wonderful to me. Happy birthday. Wish you long life. May God continue to bless and keep you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Okay. Your twin sister.
My twin sister.
Yes, so.
Everybody knows. Happy birthday, Miriam. God bless you. You have been such a friend and a sister. Very accommodating, very understanding. We have our gbas from time to time, which is normal, like sisters do. We can't fight, but we understand each other. We know that our love for each other is real. So happy birthday. God bless you. Have an amazing day today. We'll see what's going on. See how we celebrate.
I thought this was going to add that she's a Jagaban. You know?
Oh, no, she's actually the bully.
Miriam.
Yeah, she's actually the bully.
Period.
Yes, you know, somebody that can bully me. You know.
You should be Pepe.
Happy birthday, Miriam. So today is the Miriam. All road leads to Miriam. We are all going to crash into our house today. I don't know what she's doing. She didn't invite us, but I'm just going to crash.
She may not be home.
Happy birthday, Miriam. God bless you. We love you. Definitely. You're just shining star. And you are just that person that is such a good, you have a good heart, good person. You're sincere and you're true. So God bless you. We're really excited for you today. So that's pretty much our banter today, celebrating Miriam Longe.
Okay. I have one more birthday.
We'll let you. Which else?
Okay, so tomorrow is Madam Shen Jobi, a.k.a. Iyope, 60th. And you need to see the pictures.
Her mom's 60th birthday.
Sit on my status and see the pictures drop. She's always on my status, so we're going to be dropping pictures. I love how she's aging. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, he has been wearing
How did you know best mom?
This shout out that I'm doing, I'll get an Iyope's plate of, you know.
Something.
How do you know Okwe's mother? Wait, you don't reach their house. You don't shop her food, I'm sure.
Iyope and me, we are like this.
Are you kidding? Oh, happy birthday,
Good,
ma.
good.
Happy birthday.
I like it when I see people do things I know I can't do. The strength I don't have, I'm happy that you have it on our behalf. So as you are
on our behalf,
on our behalf. I'm so happy. Fantastic. So happy birthday to Yokwe tomorrow. God bless you.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to celebrate with her too. God bless you. All right. Let's go on a short break now. We come back, look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation as usual. Rivers crisis deepens. Nigeria Air 2.6 billion naira investigation. EFCC quizzes Ethiopian Airlines CEO. 11 Americans discover Nigerian roots at the New York Ancestry DNA event. Brace for more flooding, NIMET tells Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Edo, FCT areas. Contractors get 3 months to fix 260 federal government road projects. Lagos accounts for 104 out of 113 cholera cases in 1 week. Chai. FHC CJ declines Yahaya Bello's bid to transfer case to Kogi. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, we have our new cousins, sisters, and brothers, 11 of them. Who have
Cousins, sisters, and brothers.
Where are they from?
They are Americans who have their link to Nigeria established by the DNA testing. They call it, quickly.
Ancestry DNA.
Ancestry DNA. And all 11 of them have decided to visit our embassy in America and show allegiance. So they are either Igbo, Hausa, Fulani Yoruba, Fulani Yoruba, Hausa Fulani, Fulani Kanuri. That's what their links showed.
Wow.
Malika Harris, Shatara, Corbett, in case you see them for street for US, cousin,
Our
Gary, Trey, Antonia Cole,
Oh, that's
Brown.
beautiful.
Shad them plenty, 11 of them. So our consulate in New York had a celebration, they converged at the embassy, and it was emotional. They call it Africa Ancestry Reveal Ceremony.
Oh, wow.
And according to the statement held at the house, it highlighted the deep historical connections between Nigeria and the African diaspora, and it's exciting, really.
It is.
There were 8 others who discovered their ancestry to Cameroon, the Gambia, Senegal, Ghana, Niger Republic, but our own cousins are this 11.
All right, any man to see, go to New York and look for them. Okay, which other story in the nation?
So the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has said that the country has recorded 113 cases and 7 deaths of cholera in 1 week, June 17 and 23. NCDC made this known in the situation report for the week, 25 published on its website. That was yesterday. And the recent report indicated that 3 states, Lagos, Ogun, and Kaduna, have reported cases of the disease across 21 local government areas. He also said that the cases recorded, Lagos accounted for 104 and Ogun 7, while Katsina had 1. And according to the report, as at June 23, a total of 1,579 suspected cases were recorded, with 54 deaths. And, that was recorded from 32 states. It stated that Lagos, with 537 cases, accounted for 34% of the suspected cases. They also indicated that the suspected cases, started from the beginning of the year, and age 5, that's the ages of the children, were mostly affected, and that aggregates for both male and female at the same time. Now, they went ahead to explain to us again what cholera is. It says a water and foodborne disease caused by injection of Vibrio cholerae, which comes through contaminated water, and that is usually, contaminated by the feces of the infected individuals, which can happen at the source, and you can get it through either transportation, storage from home, and all of that. And if the food is contaminated by salt hands, that can now begin to spread while people are consuming different types of food. But NCDC said that a part of their response activities included the distribution of medical supplies for case management, infection prevention and control, laboratory to medical centers nationwide. They also have provided support to states like Lagos and Ogun, following up with the report's progress as it is. So people just need to be more careful and see how we can curb this cholera.
Okay.
Okay, so I have the story of the Nigerian Air on the 2.6 billion investigations going on. As we know, earlier on in the month, the former Minister of Aviation, Sirika, his daughter, his son-in-law, and a certain company, they were alleged that the 2.7 billion was stolen. So as they now invited the CEO of the Ethiopian airline, and as part of the ongoing probe of the 2.6 billion allegedly spent on Nigerian Air, as EFCC has debriefed top officials on Ethiopian Airlines on some of its findings on the botched project. In the course of findings, our operatives also discovered that the Ministry of Aviation was indebted to Ethiopian Airlines to the tune of 211,000 billion naira.
211 billion.
Billion.
Okay.
So he said, as part of our investigation, we want to find out how about the 2.6 billion that was alleged spent on the botched air. They were asking the Ethiopian airline, listen, and then the Ethiopian airline now came out and said, you people are even owing us. You are owing us. But then they said, so far, we are able to uncover 1.3 billion spent on the consultancy contract for Nigeria. And they said, according to the agreement on Nigeria, Ethiopian Airlines had a 49% equity stake, federal government 5%, and a consortium of 3 Nigerian investors, 46%. But the deal, however, got crashed because Ethiopian Airlines withdrew from the deal. So they now went ahead to say that the Aviation Development Minister, Festus Keyamo, said he remains suspended. That is, Air Nigeria remains suspended. It was never Nigeria Air. It was not Nigeria Air. That's the truth. It was only painted Nigerian Air.
All right. Terrible. That scandal is crazy, and I hope that they're able to resolve that. So following the heavy rain that happened in some parts of Nigeria, those of us that experienced the flash flooding in Lagos that resulted in loss of properties, deaths of a couple of people. NIMET, that's our meteorological agency in the country, has said that we should expect more rains. Specifically, they are saying that July 9th, which is today, I hope they are correct. Well, not that I hope they are correct, but it's until we trust their predictions and we don't know that they know what they're talking about. So, said today, moderate to heavy rains expected over parts of Bauchi, the Kaduna, Adamawa, Nasarawa, and Federal Capital Territory. They also listed Lagos, Osun, so we'll see how that goes today. But they're expecting some serious rain coming up 11th of July. Says in Zamfara, Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi, Sokoto. So they're giving us more specific dates now.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that people would get this information and then begin to prepare. It's a bit close, but hopefully Nigerians
can tell from the cloud how that it might rain. You would see yesterday was a terrible cold, drizzling all through. The clouds were really heavy.
Yeah, it was.
So even me, I'm already praying. God forgive us. And when this rain finally fall, let it not flood and carry us away. You can see that. So you too, use your head
to start moving.
Check the clouds.
So that means we shouldn't go out on that day.
Oh, you gotta move. Go to your auntie's house in the other.
If your area is flooded.
Yes. You need
to on the island. Find your aunties on the mainland and start traveling down. Come down here and stay here, so you'll be protected.
Ouch.
Federal government suspends food imports duty. Partner states on farming. Picture here of outrage as Russian missiles kills 33 in Ukraine Children Hospital. Fubara court bars Rivers CJ from accepting impeachment notice. Excuse me. Local airlines project 980 naira to the liter. Aviation fuel meet Dangote. Human rights, democracy, economic growth, key issues in the Samoa Agreement. Q spread as petrol hits 1,100 naira to the liter in Abuja. Chai. Okay, which story are we taking in?
A major headline, and we are responding to the situation on ground. So the federal government has given a 150-day, that's 5 months, free duty import for maize, wheat, and others. According to the Minister for Agriculture and Food Security, this 150 days would, of course, is to respond to the hardship on ground. They said that they'll be suspending duties, tariff, taxes for the importation of these food items through land and sea borders. And they mentioned all the items and said this, of course, is to reduce the demand for forex also. And some agencies are already responding that, of course, this would influence or affect positively inflation and reduce a lot of things. The quarterly statistics from the CBN showed that the country exported a large amount of food from foreign countries, despite all the ban and everything, and being touted as the food basket of Africa. Yet we have that. So they've considered, I hope that this would mitigate the scarcity and hardship, since insecurity is not allowing us to farm internally. Okay,
let me take about the Samoa Agreement, because we have discussed people's skepticism about the Samoa Agreement. So the government has come out to tell us some of the idea, the principles that covers the agreement. If you recall, this agreement was signed last year, November 15th, and it's Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific countries alongside the EU relations. So it's an EU relations contract with these 79 countries that include the African, Caribbean, Pacific. So the principles, priority areas are democracy and human rights. So when we have issues of human rights being infringed upon, we can hold government accountable, saying, listen, we are part of this agreement, and you can get these international unions to also come and intervene in some of these things because we are part of these agreements. Sustainable economic growth and development, climate change, human rights, social development, peace and security, migration and mobility. So these are some of the issues that we agree with these countries to make mobility and migration easier. So there are benefits to these agreements. Yeah. Now you are the talk to. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch.
Yes, so I have the Ukraine and Russian story. Said there was a global outage outrage on Monday after Russian missiles killed at least 33 persons and injured 136 others in Ukraine. Britain's Foreign Minister David Lammy condemned the strike on a children's hospital in Kyiv and blamed it on Russia as an appalling attack on Ukrainian civilians. Now, Lammy, who was speaking, has been the appointed British diplomat, and he has said that we must hold those responsible for Putin's illegal war to account, that Russia had struck cities across Ukraine with missiles, and that killed dozens of people and ripped open the children's hospital in KYV. And a lot of people are saying that they shouldn't have even bothered to hit the children's hospital. They've never heard it in the history of war where hospitals are now being attacked. Okay. Hospitals are usually supposed to be a place where people can now go find treatments, you know, from everything, and you don't direct your attacks to the hospital. A lot of people are speaking up against it. I usually don't take foreign stories, but that was really painful to watch. They said the people in the hospital are getting treatment. I think about 136 people that were wounded. Some are getting treated. And it was about 38 missiles that went into about 5 states and then now targeted the children's hospital, which was painful. In the, you know, war that we are all doing and looking forward to, we need to be very intentional about some of the things that we preserve. Our children, for instance, should not be like a no-go area for any country. It was just so painful.
Okay.
Okay,
moving on now to, you have a story? We can move on.
Yes, I have a story of the local airlines project 980 Naira. They went to have a meeting with Dangote. So there's this, they said domestic airlines under the AEGIS of Airline Operators of Nigeria are seeking to enter a deal with the management of Dangote Petrochemical Refinery to buy Jet A1 at an affordable price. They say currently the aviation fuel goes between 1,100 to 1,250 per litre, depending on the airport and the prevailing exchange rates. But that they've gone for they had a 2-3-hour meeting about a month ago with the entire Dangote refinery management, including Dangote himself. And the Dangote has dissolved and decided that he's going to give them supply fuel directly to the local operators for about 980 Naira per litre. Okay.
Vanguard. FG opts for duty-free import of rice, beans, wheat, and other grains. Zenith Bank wins Best Commercial Bank in Nigeria and Best Corporate Governance Awards. 72 hours after abduction, fate of Kaduna journalist remains unknown. UBA GMD appointed chairman body of bank CEOs. Excuse me. Scarcity, NNPCL blames logistics flooding on petrol queues grow longer. And Team Nigeria ready to soar at the Paris Olympics. Okay, which story?
Do you have you didn't take the 9 billionaire kidnappers?
Is it in Vanguard?
Vanguard.
Yeah, it's there.
It may be somewhere hidden there. I'm going to take it now.
Start it.
It's not here. But which story are we taking in Vanguard?
Let me be taking that story.
See it now, under the picture story.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me.
Okay, end of the Odo billionaire kidnappers.
Oh, yeah, take it. Yeah, take your
so
story.
congratulations to us and well done to the Nigerian police because they've relieved the people of Ago, Isolo, and Festac who have been suffering these 9 billionaire man gang kidnappers. And they met their Waterloo at Ladipo where they had attempted to kidnap somebody they had kidnapped before. Yeah, at Ladipo. But, you know, the way Vanguard wrote it, it looked like storytelling. But, you know, they were targeting a rich international businessman and they were on the verge of kidnapping him. But their plot was foiled by the eagle-eyed policemen from the Commissioner of Police Special Squad who confronted them and killed 9 of them.
Oh, you killed them?
Yes.
I was saying, I hope it's not arrest. I hope it's not arrest.
Finish them.
They did not kill them like that. Not like that.
Okay.
So it was a face-off.
Okay. And the police won this time around.
Not go and target them.
I know. It's the same thing. I would rather that than carry and say want to arrest.
Somebody releases them tomorrow.
They recovered their AK-4 rifles, AK-47 rifles, POS machines, walkie-talkie, loudspeaker, operational vehicles, black Toyota 4Runner, a blue Lexus RX 350, plenty like that. They were recovered. 2 of them escaped into the crowd who were watching this shootout, but you know, 9 were leveled.
Well done to our police. A good eye.
Nima said, 9 were level.
Level.
Hey!
Well done to the
This
police.
I've been hearing all the time about
Yes.
kidnapping in that area, and I've been
Yeah.
wondering what's
Yeah.
happening. But
Yeah.
they said they started
Well
their operations
done. Well
within
done.
a year, and just 1 year in Lagos that they chose as their haven of operation.
God forbid
they
bad
were
thing.
level. So
They went to kidnap the same person they kidnapped some.
Yeah, maybe because they paid ransom.
said they
now.
take
They paid
100
100 million.
Imagine.
So they wanted to go back and collect another.
Collect another 100 million.
Finish the guy.
So there's been scarcity in the city of Abuja. Everybody's complaining. And
1,100.
and they are saying that queues have resurfaced at the filling stations in Abuja and its environs. And a lot of people are, some filling stations are not selling. I think the only filling station selling is NNPC, NIPCO, and a few other big marketers. But then the long queues there. Now they have asked what was the cause of it. Also, we have on the side black marketers who are taking advantage of the situation. The 10-liter keg that they are selling for 10,000 is now going for 13,000 naira. So when they asked what was the cause, they said because of the rains and the storms and the thunder, they are not able to do ship-to-ship offloading. And, they have to follow the processes and procedures so that they don't get into trouble with the filling stations in case of fire outbreak from those sparks that would happen from thunder and flooding. So most of the roads that, the trucks are taking to offload to the filling stations are basically flooded. So they're not able to communicate and get there to supply the fuel. And that's what's happening. And we are praying that hopefully by the time the rains will reduce, they'll be able to have a seamless transportation into the filling stations, and even the ships also will be able to offload ship to ship, from mother ship to daughter ship, so that we can have fuel. But sorry, the people who are living in Abuja right now, this is just something you have to manage for a while.
Daily Sun, FG Mall suspension of tariff taxes on rice, maize, and other grains. Mba approves 1.9 billion naira for payment of teachers' 4-year leave allowance. EFCC, CJ rejects Bello's case transfer request. Rivers Crisis Court bars CJ clerk from accepting impeachment notice against Fubara from the Amewule-led assembly. Minimum wage government defense offered to Labour, and gunmen kill 3 vigilantes passers-by in Imo. Okay, which story?
Of course, the Weya Bello story. The Chief Justice of the Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected his request to have his matter transferred from Abuja to Lokoja. And the Chief Justice is saying...
It's Rivers, right?
No.
No. Yaya Bello Kogi.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it says that the law permits the filing of the charge in either Abuja, Federal FCT, or in Lokoja. And since the matter has been fully committed in both places, it is apt that the matter continues before the judge in Abuja. And now, I was saying that this is looking like Ibori. I'm just finding out that in his application, he relied on Ibori versus the Federal Republic of Nigeria to make this request. It's just funny, but the court has refused it.
Yes, I have a story. A gunman killed 3 vigilantes and a passerby at Umuaka in Ijaba local government area of Imo State on Sunday evening. A spokesman of the State Police Command, Henry Okoye, was the one who made the disclosure in a statement he released to newsmen, and he said the State Commissioner of Police, Aboki Danjuma, has already deployed a tactical team team of the command to arrest all those behind the gruesome murder of the vigilantes. Now, a viral video surfaced online earlier showing the vigilantes were probably shot from close range in the vehicle that they were patrolling with. The passers-by was said to have also been hit by stray bullets from the gunmen. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Police has commiserated with the family of the deceased and is urging members of the community who may have useful information on the suspects to feel free to report the case to the police while investigations are ongoing. Okay, who has a story on Labour?
So the federal government yesterday were speaking, I think it was the Minister of State for Labour and Employment in Kiruka, Onyo Jiocha, made this known yesterday that the government has, they're saying that the report, the tripartite meeting, the tripartite committee on the new minimum wage, the report they believe is balanced and fair and realistic as an approach to addressing the myriad challenges of the country's workforce. She said that the submissions of blueprints of actionable reforms that would drive sustainable development should be stated the administration's resolve to transform labor landscape in Nigeria, ensuring that every worker is respected, protected, and fairly compensated. So she said that what the government is proposing, she believes is fair and realistic. Okay, our final paper very quickly, the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Dog eats flesh of girl's head. What? Attacks owner trying to protect victim in Ibadan. Police arrest man who climbed 120 feet mast to commit suicide over hardship. Court bars Rivers CJ clerk from dealing with pro-weekend lawmakers. And FG Mons 150-day duty-free imports. Okay, which story? Please, who has that?
Okay, so this young 5-year-old girl usually goes to greet an elderly female neighbor, and she had gone to the dog owner's house to greet and play with the owner, but, you know, sadly, she was beaten. The hair on her head and the flesh covering the head of her was beaten off by the dog. And the woman, whose name was not, was given as Esther, but no surname, was also attacked by the dog, you know, because she was trying to
shield,
hold the cage, and the girl came in. She pounced on the girl and really injured her. We call it Scienta-in-law. There's, of course, consequence on the owner's side for
really sad. I think that's all we can take. Any other story?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
right.
A protester on Monday in Abuja climbed to the top of ASO radio masts, Katampe Hill, of the nation's capital, and threatened to jump down to death if the president failed to urgently put a stop to the problems bedeviling the country. So he mentioned the problems. He said that he was frustrated by the unbearable economic realities and demanded that the president reverse the removal of fuel subsidy and tackle insecurity. He went ahead to, you know, mention a lot of things that he wanted the president. Yes, but they convinced him to calm down, and then he has calmed down. He has been arrested. They say he's cooling off in custody. And that they promised him that the president would hear what he has said, and they are working on it to see how they can resolve it. So I know that normally suicide is a crime. Any attempt to commit suicide is a crime, but I don't...
protest. Wasn't suicide, though. He was
No,
protesting.
he climbed tree. He said he won't kill himself.
And a protest. They used that.
No, he climbed mast.
He's protesting.
He said he won't kill himself. Say he go for die if president don't do this.
It's a form of protest now.
So they should look at it as a protest and not as suicide. Attempted suicide.
It's for
because they don't arrest them for, you know, that
they cool off now for...
They cool off.
They understand the man, baby.
Yes.
No, they should not do anything to
they all know the situation is
everybody can go crazy. It's not
True.
That is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has approved a 150-day duty-free import window for specific commodities, including maize, husked brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. The initiative also suspends duties, tariffs, and taxes on these imports through both land and sea borders. Joining us on the show is an international trade specialist, tax expert, partner, and the West Africa Global Trade Advisory Leader at Deliote Chijoke Odo. He will be analyzing the timing, impact of this announcement on the country's revenue and finance. Welcome, sir, Mr. Chijoke, to the show. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Good to have you.
Good to have you on the show. Right, so this announcement has got people with mixed feelings. Some agree, some disagree. But let's go back to the genesis. One of the measures the president had put in place when he came into administration was to see what we can do to strengthen the naira. And many of these things, policies were put out there to help force internal and local production of goods and services. But unfortunately, the reverse has been the case because some of these supplies we couldn't meet our demands. What are your thoughts on the original policy in the first place? Was it right or was it wrong?
I mean, it's. I would say one to look at things in perspective, right? So at the time the president came on board, one of the things that, of course, we were trying to do then was to see how we could grow local, eat local. Okay, so why not encourage local farmers? Why not encourage local production of products? So if that is what we want to do, then why not start off first trying to promote promote this policy. So I mean that was why that policy was rolled out in the first place. And I would say it was a policy, it was the right policy at that time. But again, like we know, things evolve. Okay, and as things evolve, you need to continue to re-strategize. And we have come to a point where food inflation is 40.7%. We cannot continue to have that at that point. So we need to find a way to ensure that as much as possible, we can drop that figure down and get food to people, because when you have a hungry populace, you have a restless populace. So I think from the outset, good policy, but needed to evolve.
Okay, sir. So, some persons have said that this may just be more like a short-term measure to alleviate what Nigerians are going through, but in the long term will have adverse effects. Do you think this would have adverse effects, considering the fact that we are trying to go back to a place where Nigeria can feed Nigeria? Or can we just accept this now, see how some things can be lifted, inflation reduced, food cheaper for Nigerians, and then find a way to go back to the original plan that we've had? Or we forget about the original plan and people can have free market access to import and export whatever they like?
I mean, I don't think we are reversing the policy. I mean, when you were speaking earlier on, you said it's a 150-day program, right? So for 150 days, the idea is to get food in as cheap as possible and as much as possible, so that again we get this inflation down and we get food to people to eat. 150 days is 5 months. The idea is between now and the 150th day, plans would have been put in place, and actually implementation as well, to get farming ongoing. So whether wet season farming, dry season farming, I mean, the idea is by the time the 150 days window is over, we would have ramped up production, we would have ramped up storage, we would have ramped up distribution. And of course, we can go back to the policy. And of course, the idea is between now and then, why did we get to a point where there was hardly food in the market, and if there was, it was very expensive. That brings us back to the causes of the food inflation, which is the issues around production and the issues around distribution. And so in that plan that has been rolled out by the president, I mean, just taking a glance at it, it just shows that in that 150 days, these issues of production, at least, because distribution is a matter of the cost of distribution, all right? So, but at least from a production standpoint, we ramp up production, and then we go back to the original policy.
Okay, so with this new development, when are we going to start seeing the when are we going to start getting the positive impact of these things?
So, I mean, maybe we go back to why there's food inflation, right? So how do we get food into the country? We either produce it or we import it. From a production standpoint, why do you have production shortages? Because of insecurity challenges, all right? Plus, I mean, some will argue there's also climate change, and also some would argue that there's also the conversation around the infrastructure that is being used, or the know-how of farmers. Then you tell them, once you produce, you need to distribute it. How do you distribute? You have trucks. How do trucks move? Gas prices, energy prices, those things have gone up, okay? Now, if you're not producing and distributing locally, what are you doing? You're importing. What are the components of importation in terms of what drives price? The original price of the product, the FX, the foreign exchange rate that are using to convert it, and of course, the duty. So what Mr. President is doing is this, okay? From a production standpoint, we will continue to ramp up production. But from importation, we can't do anything about the FX for now. It's not a short-term fix. What the president has power to do is to vary the rates. And so what he's saying is, let us take away the tariffs, the taxes that are imposed upon importation, so that at least we can bring down the cost of the cost of imports. What does this do? Of course, it gets imports cheaper. And then, of course, one would argue, okay, so what about local production? No, so local production won't suffer. The idea is not for it to suffer. The idea is to start use that 5 month period to fix it. So it's again, it's not going to be the norm going forward.
Okay.
What we're going to do is get food in and then fix production, and of course we begin to get food into the country.
Duty suspension is on only a selected number of foods. We also have foods that are only locally available. Like you don't buy ram and tomatoes, we're not importing those things. But you see their costs always going up along with all the factors that we have highlighted. How is the suspension on this selected number of goods going to influence the price of other locally available goods that are high?
I mean, it's not going to, it's not a fix for everything, okay? The idea is on staple foods. The idea is on commodities, okay? And that's why wheat, rice, and all the other things you mentioned earlier on, because this is what Nigerians largely survive on, okay? I mean, the large majority of Nigerians survive on. And so, as much as possible, Pareto principle, let's ensure that we get food to at least 80% of the population, okay? I mean, the other 20% are those who probably be a lot more sophisticated in how they eat. But if you also look at it, the sophistication is also derived from these basic items, all right? So whether it's rice or whether it's wheat, I mean, your spaghetti as well, they're all derivatives. So it's about ensuring that we can get the primary products that form the basis of our healthcare, of our nutrition in the country. Okay, we can't continue to have this continue to be scarce in the market. We cannot continue to ensure that have this unavailable to people. So we need to feed the people. If people are hungry, there will be restlessness, and that is not what the country needs at the moment.
Let me ask you a question, because usually when people look to government, they always expect that government should have the answers. You know, that's why you're elected or you're appointed, because you should know. So people would think that, or do we want to ask that, why wasn't this done in the beginning, where you give that 150-day window for importation of these things and also shoring up our production? Because doing it after is like you do a policy, realize that, oh, this has increased food prices down, let me go backwards. So when we have that up and down, going back and forth of policies, people now begin to lose trust in government, thinking that, do they really know what they're doing? They're testing this every game. Let's see how it's going to be effective. So we always expect that government just knows. So do you have an idea why this wasn't implemented or thought about in the beginning to give that window for the importation of goods to show up our reserves on this?
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on within government, but I mean, what we can imagine is that government tried to do something and it wasn't working, and of course they tried to do something else. And like I said earlier on, it's about evolving plans, evolving strategies, and continue to change. Could they have acted sooner? Maybe. Do we have the facts of the case? We don't. Okay. Should we have the facts of the case? Maybe. I think so. We should. I mean, I think the people should be informed about what government is doing and what plans government have in place. So the kind of questions that you're asking, we already answered them ourselves. So if we had a very clear idea of what government wanted to do from the outset, and government said we want to do this after 30 days or after 6 months or after 1 year, it would have been easy for us to track progress or easy for us to know whether government should have acted sooner. Be that as it may, government has acted now. I think it's for us to hope that the facts that are on the ground has informed government's current decision, and the 150 days that has been provided is not wasted, because it's one thing for you to say, I will remove tariffs, get foods into the country, let them be cheaper. In that 150 days, I start production, and then of course after 150 days, of course we need to see some harvest. Okay. If we waste that 150 days, then we will come back here sometime next year to say we want to do another 150 days.
Yeah.
Now, for the local farmers, the question is, okay, are you trying to encourage us to produce, especially for those who are still trying to thrive despite the challenges? We cannot come back here again. 150 days should be 150 days, and we should ensure that everything is done to make sure that we go back to production and, of course, bring back the tariffs. Because remember, those tariffs are also going to impact our revenue. And of course, if we want to balance the budget, we cannot continue to have a reduced revenue.
Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still with our guest.
Yes,
You had a question.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. So I would like to know what plans the government has for farmers who have been, supplying us food in terms of insecurity. One of the major reasons we have food scarcity and high cost of, products is because of insecurity. A lot of the farmers have been sacked from their farms, especially in areas where there's banditry and all the insecurity issues happening there. Now, while we have 150 days of opening the window for importation into the country, what plans do we have to make sure that the farmers are secured enough to go back to the farm so that after 150 days, we can now revert back to the policy of eating Nigeria, growing and eating Nigeria?
So, I mean, I don't have elaborate information from the government in terms of, what they want to do to ensure that the farmers are able to go back and, of course, start production. But I know that just looking at a quick highlight of the news yesterday, also talked about the role of the military, okay, in ensuring that we can at least secure the routes in which the production is moving, and of course, as much as possible, secure farmers in their farms. Of course, not everywhere can't be secured in 150 days. All right, the issue of insecurity is one that has been with us for a while, so it's going to take a while. I think what government needs to do is ensure as much as possible that the insecurity does not go beyond what it is today. So you gradually begin to reduce the level of influence of these agents of insecurity, and as much as possible, see how you can get farmers. But I think what's also important that government also needs to do is to empower the farmers, encourage the farmers. So buy as much as possible, buy off crops from these farmers. I mean, you hear issues around farmers producing, and because there's no off-taker, the products are actually rotten at farms. So one of the things that government can do, as well as empowering the farmers, is also be an off-taker. Okay, I know that I also, just thinking about the news yesterday, one of the things the government also wants to do is to restock the reserves. Remember, sometime last year or early this year, the president approved the release of the reserves, in the Federal Reserve. So of course we need to restock and potentially restock more than the levels we had. But I think those are the two main things that I think the government needs to do in immediate.
I have a call from Bashir, who's calling from Abule Egba. Thanks for calling, Bashir. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Morayo.
Morning, sir.
Thank you. So it's like this decision of Asiwaju is been long overdue. Okay. It's been long overdue. Since all these years, farmers can no longer go to the farm. So now we have been pressuring him. People have been saying, open the border. That is the solution to the problem. Farmers cannot work, insecurity everywhere, and you close down the border. It doesn't work out in that way. That is the problem of food scarcity. The bag of rice is about 80,000. So in fact, the decision is very, very good, and I adore him for that.
Mr. Bashir,
it's a very nice
Mr. Bashir, let me ask you this question. The reasoning was that we wanted to increase local production. Do you think that by opening the borders, it's going to weaken our potential to do that? Don't you think?
There is no local production anywhere. Don't let us deceive ourselves. There is no local production anywhere. Everybody in that studio. Everybody in that studio cannot say that they are eating local rice. Nobody will say that. I will not believe that story.
I am.
Everybody is.
For years now.
Nobody is. I wouldn't believe that story. We are imported country.
See my supplier here.
Even to the toothpicks. Wow. We imported toothpicks. Nobody will tell me that studio that you are eating local rice. I will
See
believe
my
that
supplier
I'm
sitting here.
producing it, sir.
I've been buying from her for over 5 years.
Yes.
No country sustain without importation. Cannot do without importation. There's no way.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bashi. Your point is taken. Thank you so much.
So I wanted to ask a question. You know, we have this habit in Nigeria that whatever goes up, you know, they come down. It's only here. And whenever they take into cognizance pricing, people don't consider these duties that you're removing. Dollar go up. Dollar go up. So won't we be needing our trade commission, our FCCCP, OPC, all of them to work with us together to see that, you know, there's price regulation?
So let me even add to Nima's question, because the question, that was part of my question, is that yes, we understand they've removed the taxes, the duty, and all that, but because dollar is still high in comparison to naira, it's still going to cost higher to import. So people, those people who are trying to hope that they will import more, they are still may not even be able to import because they can't find it affordable. Don't you think, Mr. Odo?
So, I mean, it's a great question you have asked, but this brings let's go back to school in terms of how these products get to you. So products are purchased, say, somewhere in China, okay, at $100, okay. So there's transportation cost. It gets to Nigeria. Of course, you convert it to dollar. Of course, the FX key has been rising, has been trending up over the past couple of days. So if you take out tariffs and FX keeps rising, it's almost as if nothing has happened. Now, Mr. President has taken away the tariffs. Okay, so it means you don't pay these taxes. But if you clear it, who's going to take the goods from, say, a Papa port to town? A truck. A truck is, first of all, has to queue to buy petrol or buy diesel, or as the cost of gas is going up, and then what happens? Okay, so the tariffs that are being saved are not being paid upon these imports, okay, are now being paid either as transport costs, okay, or energy cost, because again, when it gets to your stores, when the food gets to your store, there's somebody there who also has to run power.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if, while you think that things should come down, if other factors that affect the price are going up, then you might actually have exact same price or even higher.
Yes, you're stating a problem.
No, the way he stated it, it has
We're still back to, yes, we're still back to the same
because
thing.
we know ourselves.
Let me take this call. Femi, then I'll come to Romatu. Good morning, Femi. You're live.
Good morning, gentle ladies. God bless you all.
Yes.
Yes,
My take on this situation is that this is an evolving occurrence that will lead the president also to take necessary steps. And this is a right step in the right direction. But the point is, Nigeria is fertile enough to grow whatever we want to eat throughout the year. But the security situation is terrible. I'm from Ekiti State, and I know the full basket within Ekiti State is one local government under Ikole local government. But farmers cannot go to the farm to go and cultivate. So the 150 days should not be wasted. And if it is not going to be wasted, then necessary steps have to be taken in order to ensure that farmers can go to their farms, cultivate, and come back home. So the security situation must have to be seriously addressed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, Ramatu.
Yeah, so I think the 150 days is quite small. And the fact that recently in the papers, we saw that Dangote was asking that there's 30% interest rates if you want to collect loan from banks and all. So if we are going to bring in importation, we're importing goods, at the same time, we need to boost our local production. With this high interest rate, how are we going to achieve this food surplus at the end of the day and get it at a low price? How do we do? What are the measures in place to make sure that at least we get low interest loans?
Is that a question for me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very interesting one. If you notice, back during the last administration, one of the things that they tried to do was to provide low interest rate for farmers. Okay, but again, the mechanism or the framework in which that was provided, it's a different conversation. The rate is the rate. Those who provide this rate are also business people, and they also have to do what is necessary to stay afloat. And so the only one of the interventions we can have is government actually stepping in again. Maybe a lot more robust framework compared to what we had before, but that is the only way you can get cheap finance to farmers, and these farmers really need this cheap finance. Otherwise, we'll get to this point. But I agree with you 100%. Financing is important, and if you can't get that to farmers, then of course we will be back here by the 150.
All right, let me take Asana from Abuja. Thanks for calling.
The problem is the first subsidy is removed. There will be a solution to every problem. You don't make provision for anything. And at the end of the day, look at what people are facing because of fuel. So the only thing that people should do, you should go back and this subsidy should be terminated so that everybody will be happy in this country. Because all these things that he's doing will not bring solution to the nation. It will continue. The problem will continue. That's my take.
Asana, what was your proposition? What's your proposition?
Huh?
What's your proposition?
The first subsidy should be removed.
Should be returned, reversed.
Yes, withdraw.
Okay.
First subsidy. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Hasana. Go ahead.
God knows how that will be. I have a question concerning, the process of, these products getting to us. It's not a direct farmer to consumer most of the time. We have middlemen who would get from the farmer, then probably refine, polish, whatever, and then sell to us. And I'd like to know how the government, plans to, ensure that they do not overprice it. Because if you ask them, they will say they have gone through transportation, they've used the transportation, they've done this, they've done that, and that also adds up to the cost. But how can we put more like a limit, to say that the middlemen do not go overboard in pricing the product, so that at the end of the day, we're able to get the products cheap to the consumers that need it, that the government is trying to help?
I mean, I also saw yesterday when the news broke that government was also thinking about a recommended price, ensuring that there's a recommended price for some of these items that are imported. Again, my sources tell me that it's still very early days in terms of the definite framework for this new policy. So I think in the next couple of days we will hear more, especially from the Minister of Finance, because I understand that there's still a lot of fleshing out that needs to happen, and so we will know more how this is going to work out. But clearly there needs to be some level of control. Okay, there needs to be some robustness in how it's rolled out. Otherwise, some of the things you talked about will happen. You could also have hoarding. So people can bring in these things, and then of course hoard them in some warehouses, wait for 150 days to lapse, and all of a sudden begin to sell this product at a very high price, meaning that you now have gouging, all right, and people begin to make money off this policy. That must not happen. And so the framework, how the framework is, when it's rolled out in a couple of days' time, I think it's important that government put measures in place to ensure that you don't have people benefiting off this policy.
Okay. I have a caller. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yes.
Good morning.
I just be over there on my good lady there. You know what the problem of this country is this?
No, this country.
We are just beating about the bush. I'm telling you, if first subsidy is removed for good 6 months, and this money is going to be like to rebuy our refinery. For good 6 months alone, the money being put on first subsidy can repair our refinery. Then immediately go back to reduce the 200 naira per liter to the fuel again. You are not going to give me fish to eat. Fish me out to pass fish. Then every Nigerian is labor. So how they are living? Why president is insisting that we want to give up our palliative? Is this the one that goes to feed every Nigerian? You fell into our problem. Let's first go down to 200 naira per liter today. And not complain again. Why is it we are thinking about this wish? We know we have to go. We don't do that. Why?
Thank you very much, Wahab.
Okay, so one of the things that we've been celebrating is the increased allocation to states because, you know, there's increased revenue generation from taxes. The custom recently celebrated a trillion naira profit within a month from their papa ports alone. How is this going to affect it, or are we going to sacrifice that for this new change that we're doing?
I mean, it's a chicken and egg situation. We're crying of hunger in the land, and the government is saying let's get food in. But of course, government is losing revenue. I think it's a very complicated scenario. Again, when people talk about rising revenue, I think it's important that we also recognize that while revenue is rising, it's also a function of FX. Okay. And at the end of the day, even if you have a lot more naira that is being shared across the subnationals, what is the real value of that naira? Okay, what are the costs of these subnationals? Are the cost of these subnationals in nominal terms or in real terms? Okay, I would argue that a lot of the cost of these subnationals, okay, are imported. So in real terms, are the subnationals actually earning more? Okay, because they have to build bridges, a lot of the components are imported, you know, they have to do all sorts of things. You know, those things are imported. And so when you begin to convert that money into dollars, then of course, maybe one would argue that maybe subnationals don't have a lot of money. But the point is, we need to ensure that if the government is giving up revenue to ensure that we can feed the country, all right, what government has given up is not misused. Because if it is, then of course all we have done, like I said earlier on, is just to empower people and rich people who are going to take advantage of this new policy.
Okay, let me take Marake. Thanks for calling. You live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. The issue is our food security in Nigeria because of insecurities. And time government was 150 and but I knew not a lot, but that would have been the removal of subsidy. Number one.
Okay. We're having issues with Wari. I couldn't hear him properly. Hopefully we can get him called back. But I was going to ask you, in your view, how do you think regular Nigerians can participate in this 150-day window? Because yes, there are people who are importers of these grains, but others are hearing that government has allowed us to have duty-free importation for this first 150 days. How do I participate? Do you think it's something that regular Nigerians can be part of?
What can they do to cope or hold him?
Yeah.
And also,
no, I mean, again, we need to wait and see the details of the policy. Okay. Again, my sources tell me that things still need to be fleshing up. Okay, so we would know who can import, whether those who report have to be registered and have to be monitored, and then of course what prices they're going to sell at, how they're going to store it, how they're going to distribute it, who can buy it. And pretty much controls around ensuring that no one is benefiting from it. But I think, first of all, broadly, it looks like a good idea, good plan, especially within the context of food inflation. But again, we need to wait and see the details of the plan for us to begin to judge and begin to criticize or begin to be too happy about it. So, but I think generally, top line, it looks like a good policy.
Have yet another Femi on the call from Surulere. Thanks for calling, Femi.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Quick one. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. I'm trying to reach on to if I agree with you. But quick one from the guy on the studio, the analysis that was. He's saying something, but I'm not sure he's still clear about what he's saying. Right now, we know what's happening in Nigeria. 150 days is short and a very small day. It's just how many days?
5 months.
And I think we should do more better. I usually have been more better as a leader instead of doing all this kind of attitude and all the attitude in it.
Okay, well, Mr. Chijoke, Femi was trying to say that he believes that the 150 days is too short a window Do you think there's a possibility that the government will be willing to extend it a bit for Nigerians to be able to import duty-free grains?
I think it depends. I mean, even in planning, business planning, you can have a long-term plan. But again, when you're going to give up revenue for a number of years, for a number of months, I think you also want to be careful. You want to see how the plan is rolled out. You want to see how effective the plan is. And if the plan is effective, again, then of course you extend it. But again, remember what we said earlier on. While you begin to import food, the question is, okay, what happens to those who have, against all odds, continue to produce? All right. How does it impact the ability to remain sustainable as a farmer and continue to sell? So government is also has to take into consideration those stakeholders, those important stakeholders, the farmers, who against all odds continue to do what they want to do. So the 150 days is let's try this for 5 months. I mean, I'm not in the room, but I can imagine is what is going on. Let's try this for 5 months. Let's see how it works. It doesn't cost us anything for the president, based on the facts that will be placed before him at maybe the 140, and says, look, Mr. President, we need to extend this. Or Mr. President, we think that the 150 days that we have provided is sufficient. We have seen the gains. And so let's close this and see how well the farmers can pick up from here. I can imagine that if we need to extend the 150 days, Mr. President will probably be happy to do so. But until then, let's take baby steps. Let's see how the 150 days goes, and then of course we can reevaluate.
Let me take Tunde from Ikorodu. Thanks for calling, Tunde.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Morning, you're live.
Yeah, please, my contribution is, can we please tell Mr. President, we voted for him, we campaigned for him, we loved him and we still love him. What the step he's taking is wrong sometimes. His priority should be Nigeria. It should not be the Hausa governors or the Yoruba governors. All what you are getting from this subsidy removal should be directly to Nigerians. Why did the same thing? He failed. Don't give it to the governors. They are not doing anything. Governors will go and build over a bridge where they have not still a daily bread to eat. What is the essence of that overhead for the commoners? The president should buy those rice, buy those wheat. He promised us that if there are zealous, he will build a zealous in every political zone of this country when he's campaigning. You should buy those stuff and keep it there. And those people that want to sell it, they should come and buy from the president, from the government, so that the price control can be there.
Mr. Tunde, we live in a democracy, right? There are 3 arms of government. There are different levels. We have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local. Constitutionally, the president, or there's something called the FAC, where they all have that allocation, and constitutionally, they're supposed to divide it amongst the states. So the president cannot then leave his office and then begin to start distributing money to individuals, don't you think?
Mr. Murayo,
yes.
I understand you.
Yes.
Why did the same thing for 8 years? This governor did not have our feelings. They did not mind us. Okay. Why did this thing for 8 years? Okay. Why did it for 8 years? The governor are wicked. They are the one that making us to be something for this. This man increased the allocation for more than 3 times. What are they doing with it? Somebody will go and do overhead where people are not eating, where people are hungry. Yeah. You go and do overhead bridge. 10 cars cannot pass in through there. Not that bridge now. There should be a priority for the governors as well. If the president thinks that the government are not telling to win, he should reduce those things that are given to them. He should talk to us directly. Do things to us. We are the Nigerians. Okay. We still love him. We still believe in his idea.
Point taken, Mr. Sunday. Thank you so much. We take a comments on social media. We have to wrap up very soon. But he's Nigerian and he's expressing his views, which is what this show is about. Mr. Chijoke, I'm going to give you a few moments to just wrap up in a nutshell this policy and how it tends to benefit Nigerians. You keep repeating several times about the fact that the federal government will be losing revenue. You keep saying the revenue loss for that time. I don't know the estimated amount of revenue they're expecting to lose, but how do you think eventually it will, this 5 months duty-free importation gap would be beneficial to Nigeria? Just give us in a nutshell your thoughts before I take some comments on social media.
No, I mean, for me, it's damage control, okay? Because Nigerians are hungry. I mean, from your calls, I mean, just as much as I could hear, because it wasn't so clear, you could hear Nigerians, and I'm not happy, okay, because there's hunger, and no matter how you put out policies and how much speech you give, the bottom line is I need food on the table. And so it had to be something had to be done quickly, and that's why that's why the president has done what he has done. But I think what is most important is to ensure that the gains, if you lose revenue, the gains that you are giving to Nigerians actually gets to Nigerians. The question is, prior to this policy, how much were Nigerians? What did it cost a Nigerian to feed? Following this policy, at day 30, at day 60, are Nigerians getting this food cheaper? If Nigerians are not getting this food cheaper, then the question is the policy well thought out? And if it is it well rolled out? Okay? And so those are the kind of things we need to look at. But I think what is most important as well is ensure that while you are taking away tariffs, you also bring the other factors that impact these prices down. Because if you don't, numbers, 1 + 1 is 2. If those other factors go up, you realize that the cost of these commodities are going to go up. And the Nigerians are going to call and say, this was a bad policy, please reverse it, because you have also killed the farmers. So it has to be a well thought out policy, and I hope that the next couple of days, what will be rolled out by the government will be one that will get the price of these products down.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chijoke Odo. We'll be speaking to Mr. Chijoke. He's the tax expert, partner, and global trade advisory services Deloitte. Mr. Chijoke Odo, thanks for joining us. We're going to go on a short break now. We'll come back with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we move on to our next segment, the last caller raised a critical issue, which I think is worth discussing, on the fact that governors do get money from FAC. They get allocations because one of the callers also talked about subsidy removal. So the idea was you've removed subsidy, you've saved so much money, that this money you've saved, you've shared it. But Nigerians are not feeling the impacts of the development in their individual states. And he's saying this in the federal government, Mr. God President, come and do something to us directly. And I'm saying, there are middlemen called governors. It's their job. So what are your thoughts on the work the governors are doing? Are they being responsible to the people? Are they being accountable to the people as regards what they're collecting for fact? Because some governors will argue that, listen, yes, the money is plenty, but inflation, this cost is high. I cannot, even the road I was doing at this amount of million before, now it's costing me double or triple. So yes, I'm getting more money, but it's still not sufficient. That's what the governors are likely to say. What are your thoughts, Nima?
So, just as they said, unfortunately, we don't have houses of assemblies who are checking appropriation bills and seeing that whatever was estimated was expended, and they're auditing it and seeing. The governors are balling right now. The domestic debt office, what's it called? That office released our figures on our debts. And what the subnationals have generated in the gbese that we are owing as a country is alarming. Yet, nobody talked about, since May last year, when subsidy was announced and removed, the increased allocation going to each state, what it has just done is enable spending for governors unabatedly.
Lao.
Yet, when they want to do roads, you hear that we took a loan with a World Bank, we took a loan with a IMF, we took a loan. They're just taking a loan. Nobody's really auditing. So that we have figures. So the allocation that has come, governors are still in this tripartite meeting saying, we can't afford to pay salaries. So they're saying, how is this supposed to now trickle down? It's when you remove this one, you transfer it this way.
The other one.
If you are in the meeting with increased allocation per states, all of you, let's join together, because don't tell us you are using the money to do roads. That's not what you are doing. That's the truth. You're taking loans to do the roads. You're partnering with one body or the other to do the roads. What you are doing with the money, explain. What we see them do is that For instance, we had this guest last week, or was it on Monday, and they were talking about increased money for governor spending as opposed to what was allocated for infrastructure in that state. We don't have the figures, and we know right now they're just enjoying their lives.
Let me take this call from Yakub, because you heard something about the House of Assemblies. Good morning, Yakub. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Morayo. Morayo, the truth is, the other caller that already called before, they have seen a lot of things, and then they put the mail at the right place. Morayo, you see, our governors, they are not doing well at all. They were not doing well at all. And then I can tell you for free, Morayo, we are still going to go back to 0 funds. Why? Why? Because this 150 days, it is not enough at all. The issue is that, does it mean the government is assuring us that the security of this country is going to be top-notch before that 150 days end? Which I believe it is not going to happen. You know why? Why? Because how long have we been in this kind of situation we found ourselves? More than 10 years. Are you telling me within 150 days, the security of our people is going to be okay, especially the farmers, for them to go back to farm? And then even though they go back to farm, one of your colleagues, in person of Sister Nima, is sitting down in the studio. Can she tell us what is the cost price of our local rice now? See, this thing is so costly. They say that it is only BC sitting down there can buy the rice. Some of us cannot afford it. And then we can also go and meet people that are selling this foreign rice. This foreign rice of the thing that we are talking about, now the rice are changing the price. If you go to market today, you get it like 75,000 naira. You go back tomorrow, they will tell you it's not 80,000 naira.
Right.
Now they were telling them to bring this rice in now.
Yeah.
Are they now going to bring adulterated rice for us? Who is going to monitor them?
Thank you very much, Yakub. Let me just thank you, Yakub. Let me just correct that impression. First of all, they're not bringing in rice. They're bringing in wheat, cowpeas, grains, number one. Secondly, he said that the 150, according to him, he's not government.
It's brown rice.
But he's saying it was brown rice. You're right. Actually, there's brown rice in this, husk brown rice. Now, he also said that the 150, which is 5 months, is what the government is proposing. But he believes that after they've rolled out and they review, there's a potential for them to actually extend it if it's necessary. So it's not like it has to be 150.
Close it if it has worked.
Yeah, or close if it has worked. So I want us to be very clear on what was communicated earlier. Yeah. Talking about our governors.
Yeah, so now I feel bad for the removal of subsidy, because I thought that we were mature as Nigerians to be accountable to each other. I thought our leaders had gotten to the point where they will put their interest of their citizens first. And I'm looking at the governors right now. The idea behind the fuel subsidy was government subsidizing for the poor, so that even though things are not working out well, we still are struggling with good roads, we are struggling with a great health care, we are struggling with quality education. At least the little things that we get subsidy from, like the petrol, that's PMS, and the electricity would also, reduce the cost on the poor. That was the idea. And when it was time to, now a lot of people are taking advantage of it. The rich are now embezzling. They are now the ones gaining more from the subsidy instead of the poor. We now decided to look at it. Should we remove this subsidy? And the idea behind the removal of that subsidy was that what we are going to save from paying this subsidy will now be channeled into other things for the poor, for the masses: infrastructural development, quality education, healthcare, availability of as basic as food that we eat. But right now we're saying that, it seems like they are sharing money, the governors are taking money, and it's not trickling down. So what is the essence of removing the fuel subsidy in the first place? So I think we need to start holding our government accountable, our governors accountable. Yes. And unfortunately, they have immunity. So to what extent do we hold them accountable? Sometimes they say our power belongs to the people. You people need to speak up. You people need to shout. How do we speak up against people who have immunity, who we cannot hold? No, arrest. It's not even arrest. It's about, like she rightly said, investigate what the resources are used for. Let me
stay on that a bit, because that's what I wanted to harp on when no matter what, House of Assembly, their job really is to check the spending.
Yeah, checks and balances.
Yeah, that's their job. But many of them are rubber stamps because, hey, our person, we're same party, but we. So how do we ensure the lawmakers, especially at the House of Assembly local levels, are doing their job. Because, okay, especially for that extra money that we've gotten from FAC, what are you doing? If our focus is education, this is our state, these extra billions we've got to know, this is our focus, there's got to be a direction. If it is solar panels we're going to use our money to buy, the entire state, you know, we need governors to start getting creative. What are your thoughts on the fact that many of our House of Assembly lawmakers seem not to be checking our governors in their spending?
Okay, so me, from the some of our policies that we make, right, the removal of subsidy, we can bring it back since we can see that since we removed it, problems have been coming up. Yeah, you can bring it back. Yes, we can.
You agree with your caller that we should bring back?
We should bring it back so that at least we can eat, we can feed.
Eventually get
this is the thing. The governors, right? They are, for example, now like the northern governors. I always say that they need to do something about this banditry. It's becoming a very serious issue in the north. Right? Well, that is where the food comes from and all. Because I know of a lot of farmers who checked out this period. Of course, they must have planted their tomatoes and everything a long time ago. They just took advantage of the opportunity that it went up. I know of a farmer that farmed tomatoes for a very long time. He made so much money. He sponsored 3 of his brothers for Hajj. From these tomatoes, from the cost of tomatoes that went up. So at the end of the day, our governors are just sitting down instead of helping in this. Okay, what about the state police that they were talking about? Has it been approved so that we can stop this
insecurity
so that the farms can come up and then start producing food?
I just wanted to touch on that conversation because what Tunde said was really something that is worth conversing about. But let me just take our final caller. Thanks for calling. You're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Abdurrahman, you're live. Go ahead, please.
A first caller for your program.
First time caller, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Engineer Osman Ndan Mohammed calling from Abuja. And it's an interesting topic. But the major problem we have, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Yeah, the major problem we have is not the succor or the palliative. It is we Nigerians. Because this item is going to get into the hand of the middlemen. And within the 3-month window you are given, yes, it's sufficient time of importation, but it's not sufficient time for distribution. Government should tell us how are they going to do it for this item to get down to the poor masses in the society. That is the only way. That is number 2. The issue of getting continuity of agriculture. You must think about how to take care of the insecurity in the north. The north take the highest agricultural production in this country. And that is where the dwellers of these kidnappers are, what you call them, they are rampaging. And the government should take a decisive decision, a serious political will to trim them down. If not, we cannot get out of the quagmire. Even though you import for the next 1 year, the middlemen are going to hold it, and by the time they hold it, as government is talking now, they are thinking the idea. They are already placing the idea of how to hold that item. They will still tell you that, okay, the government has stopped importation, taxes has increased, okay, for that reason, the price has shoot up again. So government should be able to tell Nigerians how is it going to do this thing so that the level of hunger can reduce in the society.
Thank you very much, Usman. I'm going to have to wrap up on this segment, but I think in a nutshell, it's crucial for us as Nigerians to turn our lenses or our gaze on our governors. How are they spending the money? Let us begin to hold them more accountable because the truth is that there's a lot more that can be done. Some governors are more effective than others. I must say that there are some governors that we know are doing well. Recently, Ogun State governor was on hot seat concerning infrastructure. So many governors have been on hot seat for different things. So I think it's a good sign of the people's involvement in democracy and showing that, listen, we must get the benefits of the revenue that we're making, that the country is saving since this administration started. So that's all we can take on this segment. We're going to go on a short break. When we come back, bring our doctor to come and discuss our health segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So on our Healthy Tuesday segment, we'll be discussing ways to improve our health, boost our immunity against sicknesses, how to cope with medical costs, prevention of diseases, and consistent medical checkups. Joining us on the show is a friend of the house, Dr. Tuyi Mabawondu. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Anyway. It's a great pleasure. Spend some time.
Back, yes.
Yeah.
You see you everywhere else except for us, but don't worry, we're happy that you're back. So, right before you came in, we talked about cost of food. The economy is not smiling at anybody right now. Things are difficult. Everybody's trying to do their best to avoid going to the hospitals. On that note, anything, just manage it in the house because you don't know what the doctor will be pricing. So how do we boost our immunity? How do we strengthen our systems this season especially?
Yeah, thank you for this discussion. It's very apt. And please, I want Nigerians to listen. Now, the only thing you have is your body, all your aspiration, all your decisions, all your actions, all your buga, everything you want to do is inside with your body, okay? Your body must be appropriate for you to do all those things. So that's the only house you have. You have to carry it along until you die. You can't just run away from your body, okay? Now, inside this body, you define your goals. Inside the body, you aspire, you want to be whatever you want to be. And it is important that that body must be understood and taken proper care of. Because without the body, there's no human. I've not seen anybody acted outside his body. Okay? So let us consistently put attention to what our body is. And the body is a beautiful intelligence. Everything structured together to keep you alive, to make you think. In fact, it has the best warning system, early warning system for anything that's going to happen to you. Whether you're going to fall sick, the body quickly warns you that, listen, something is happening somewhere here. Please pay attention, okay? But most of the time, we don't pay attention. And sometimes, when we're trying to pay attention, we pay attention wrongly. And then here we're in Nigeria. You've discussed, I've listened to all the challenges of economy, food, money, debt, and all those things. It's weighing down on our body. Is it going to affect our body? Because in reality, I can't see you. I can only see your body. I can see your head. I can see your hand. But you exactly, I cannot see. So you use your body to do everything you want to do. Now in Nigeria, how do we pay for health care or health services? 70% is out of our pocket. You have to dip hand into your pocket to pay, which is too bad, okay? The National Health Insurance came on 2005 or so, or thereabout. Up till now, we've not done 5%. Covering people. So you cannot say that I'm buying insurance, that I'm using the insurance to pay for my health issue. So you still have to put hand in your pocket. If you cannot get money from your pocket, you have to call your family, you have to call your church, or your association you belong to, or call people abroad to help you pay your. It's not too tidy. So the best thing any one of us could do is to work fervently and assiduously to ensure that we don't fall sick unnecessarily. And hit those early warning systems the body is telling us. What makes it more confounding is that if you look at our environment, Nigeria, for instance, malaria were number 1. 27% of all the malaria in the world resides in Nigeria. Okay? Tuberculosis, you can be rest assured. Out of 300, close to 300 people out of 1,000 with tuberculosis in the world are in Nigeria. You know, HIV, 3 out of 100 in Nigeria. So apart from that, we have the burden of other illnesses, okay? Diabetes is there, hypertension is there. In fact, I got so stressed in the past week because a lot of young people that I knew were falling down. About 5 of them were dying. Just collapse and die, collapse and die. So how do we now discuss this? What do we do? How do we go about this thing? So it becomes important that all of us should first of all understand that we're nothing without our body. You can't become whatever president without your body. You can't. We saw what sickness did to Nigeria when some people were sick, when some leaders were sick in this country. So please, let's pay attention to our body because there's no money. And then you look at it, the cost of medication. Look at ordinary small medication to stop diarrhea that used to be 1,000 something, is now 7,000. Everything just going up. Even yesterday, I had to shout when somebody needed to buy some medication. So it becomes important that we have to honestly look at our body and do what we need to do. Now, let's get to what are we supposed to do? First and foremost, you have to show love to your body. You have to show love to your body. You have to take care of that body. And then you have to, listen to early warning signs. Don't always think that you know all. Don't think that there's somebody at the corner there who can advise you better about how to take care of your body. If the person is not equipped enough, has the same knowledge to do that. So medical checkup is actually the best thing, and it starts from you. Medical checkup does not start from the hospital, it starts from you, okay? Because here you are, in your house, you can still check your weight. You can check your height. You can check your blood pressure. Know your figures. That's the starting point. What is your sugar level? What is your blood pressure? What is your weight? What is your height? What is your cholesterol level? Know your... In fact, in reality, every home should have those basic things to check all those things. When you feel headache and it's not going on, put your hand and do your self-checking blood pressure. A lot of watches, smartwatches now, can do quite a lot for you. If you can afford it, great. If you cannot afford it, the simple one that can check your blood pressure, even if you cannot check your blood pressure at home, walk to a nearby pharmacy. They do it free of charge. Enter an hospital, they do it free of charge. They'll check your blood pressure for you free of charge. And I also want to encourage our health providers, hospital, pharmacy, to help people check their blood pressure and some things and give them advice, okay? That's the starting point. Secondly, let us appreciate that everybody needs health check. Whether you're a baby, adult, or whatever, you need health check, okay? Now, don't discountenance your family history. Because in reality, we find out quite a lot of diseases has foundation in the family, okay? If in the family, there's hypertension in the family, take note. And look at those things that can honestly help you to reduce hypertension. If you tend to be overweight in your family, take note. Watch out and make sure that you don't get overweight. If there's a diabetes, also take note. So always find out why should father die at this age? What killed grandma? Do we have history of cancer or somewhere in the family? Know your family history. That's the starting point. You cannot then neglect it. It's not by mistake that in the Bible people will keep reading this born this, this born this, this born that. Also know your family history, especially the health history of your family. That is very essential, you know. Now, schedule at least to do a check on your body. There are organs checks. You know, one of the organs that actually kills person easily, apart from general infection, you know, infection in the sense that people pick chest infection, they pick tuberculosis, they pick HIV. Apart from those general infections, your heart becomes the first thing to look at, because anything that raises the blood pressure, anything that compromises the supply of blood to any organ will lead to collapse at any point in time. So, and then I advise people to make sure that they have a number of one health worker they can talk to, who can guide them on what to do, when to do it, how to do it. For us in Nigeria, access to universal health is not available because government does not even have the money. We do maximum we've done for health spending is 6 point something many years ago of our budget. The rest is only 4%. We don't have the money. We don't even have money to manufacture drugs. Right now, to manufacture drugs has become a problem. Okay? So we have to import, and we are importing dollar-based. We don't have the money. So the best thing, eat right, sleep right, do your checkup, listen to your body, call a person that can give you proper advice. Let's start from there.
Okay, doctor. So eating right now, I want to believe we need money to buy the right food. Gone are the days where you can just walk into the farm and pluck vegetable and pluck this and mix together. Right now, to have a healthy diet based off of all these things you're saying, because what would work for me would definitely work for Mariah. I need to do a diet that is restricted to what my body needs at the time. And it's very expensive to eat quality in terms of, you know, as against the quantity. Because for the typical guy out there wants a plate of food that will satisfy and hold him because he doesn't know when next he may be seeing the next one. So when you're not picking on the vegetables and all of that, it will not satisfy you. So how do we eat right, you know, in the face of all of this? What are the best ways we can just try as much as possible to eat right?
I actually feel your post and what you raised is very concerning. That now to eat, because look at it, 46.3% of Nigeria are malnourished. 43.6%, that's scandalous. Yes. So the starting point is actually, you know, we must have a culture. First of all, your locality, you look at it. what is the real main food? What are the missing links? Okay? Now, everybody, I make bold to say that everybody must try to be, to grow something tiny, either inside a bucket or whatever, grow something tiny, okay? Now, what is happening most of the time is junk food that we tend to prepare. In other parts, people that's quite concerned about that is that they tend to look at those people, fast food that people do and try to go back and say, listen, the salt content is too much, the fat content is too much, and all that stuff, but that is not available here. We should eat as natural as possible. Good enough, we're not having a lot of modified food in our environment.
Yes.
So, yes, we should try to eat as natural as possible, you know. I know the only way you can cut cost of your food is actually to go back to those basics, like plant-based protein. Plant-based protein, your beans, is equally expensive now. What can you grow? So now it becomes important that even at the level of the local government or state, they have to look at it, how to make food provision. Well, I know that Lagos State has one big food hub they're building around Ketu in Ekwe area. So we want to see, apart from the state doing it, are we seeing the local government also doing such to make sure the food is available? In all my journey around India, the population of 1.4 billion people, food is one of the cheapest things. I still wonder how they do it. Food is one of the cheapest things. And most of these, their food are actually, because of their religion, they're actually plant-based. They're not taking all those meat. In fact, quite a lot of them don't even eat meat. Except you come to Haryana, no, not Haryana, or you come to Hyderabad, where they do a lot of biryani. But basically, they are plant-based food. And they've talked with their people there, and they've actually looked at how to provide those kind of plant-based food. So we need to work with our nutrition people. We need to work with the local government. We need to work with the state government because, you know, eating right is not just you. When you do have money and you will enter in another place. We need to have a consistent plan, either at the local level, you know, at the national level on how to make food supply adequate. And everybody should have what we call a base. Your own base may be corn, some may be sorghum, some may be gari. That's the base. Then you then try to add other things to it. So people must be able to learn to rear some little animals or, you know, or even plant some fruits so that at least they can supplement the cost of feeding. It's challenging.
Okay, so aside from, because whenever we talk about managing our health and boosting our immunity, we say eat right. And they will say eat vegetables, eat this and that. You know, aside all of this and exercise, what else are those things that we must do to, you know, to boost our own immunity? Sanitation. And if we must even eat, some people will say don't take milk. You know, what are the best food that are locally available?
No, sanitation. First of all, let me tell you, we should not underestimate the importance of sanitation because if you maintain health in terms of good environment, hand washing, I'm sure that one will not even cost you problem now. It not cost you money.
To wash hand.
To wash your hand will not cost you money. To
clean
your environment.
NEPA not bring light.
To clean your environment will not be a problem. It won't be a problem to you. Ensure that is done first. Okay. What sanitation, you know, hygiene and sanitation does to a family is far more than what plenty drugs do, because you are first of all cutting off diseases and infestations that can compete with your food. Okay? So you need to do that. That is key. Okay? Secondly, seek within your environment. Within your environment, look at what you can. We mention food. We mention exercise. We mention, you know, proper sleep. Okay? Proper sleep.
Sleep.
Because there's a lot of stress. And then the other thing is that what I've observed is that the substance abuse. 2 weeks ago, I was delivering a talk with the NDLA on Drug Day. The level of substance abuse in Nigeria, all over the world anyway, and even in Nigeria, is excruciating. It's quite concerning. What do we do about that? Because at the end of the day, one of the things that kill these young people easily is one of those substance abuse.
When you say substance abuse,
I'm talking about hard drugs.
But what of the pharmaceuticals?
They need money to buy.
Some people will just overdose on certain. And you say sleep now. They'll say I cannot sleep. Yes. You self-medicate.
Yeah, they make those things. Of course, normally, if we have a proper structure to dispense drug, you can't go anywhere. Nigeria is the only place I've seen in my recent journey everywhere where people just enter a place
and just buy
drugs
off the counter.
You need that clear counseling on what to do. And I'm saying emphatically now that we should give more attention to all those tiny things. My friend, lovely guy, is one of the big bikers around Lekki. You understand? Gently, he used to work with LNG. He had malaria, entered one of the pharmacies and bought the dog and had kidney failure. He's done how many transplants now?
Yes.
Whenever I look at the guy, I just wonder, you are now like this? So that is why some of those decisions we take could be quite challenging.
Please calm down. Somebody can go to the pharmacy, buy malaria
the wrong
I won't mention his name.
No, not his name, but I'm just talking about that. What kind of drug would you just have kidney failure?
Yeah.
It's like fake drugs.
You see, the challenge of fake medication. Even for me, I have to be very careful when I'm asking people, do the one with scratch card, do the one with this, make sure that this and this, try to do, I try to be so specific in where the drug comes from. Because now, look at malaria. If Nigeria has 27% of the burden of malaria worldwide, you know what the profit is people selling anti-malaria? That one isn't very expensive now. So, and now when the dog is now fake, what do you do? So that's how my wonderful, lovely friend, Pig, when I failed, of course, the wife left me. Of course, he had a lot of problems. He can't get money.
Wife, leave her.
Wow.
This is, it's not something, some of us, in the past few days, a week or so, I've been quite depressed. I have to actually look for things that can make me talk because I was losing people like this. And I was looking. Some depression because I couldn't continue with the medication she's using. Of course, she died.
Hey.
Still, I was still counseling and talking to her that, listen, you must use your medication. Of course, she died. I also felt bad. Why should you die? Why are you in a hurry to die? So it becomes important that all of us, I don't care if you want to become President Trump or whatever you want to be, you must have body. Where's aspiration without body?
How do we know these right drugs when we go to the pharmacy to purchase? What are the criteria? What are the things?
Okay, the first thing is this. Watch out. When you see a drug manufactured and not having a dark number, that's a signal. Okay. That's number one signal. Secondly, we've insisted on a check process whereby you scratch and send a code. Always don't just take it for granted. Confirm. Thirdly, you must know that some drug will not work well for your body. There are drugs I don't take.
Hey, how you know that one now?
You understand? So
my friend have used it. BC went there, she bought it, she had kata, she bought that thing, it worked for her. How will I know it will not work for me?
Now, medicine has moved from generalized to specialized. What I mean by specialized is that now we're doing more of genetic drug, dosing. Is this drug going to work for your body? What's your genetic component? That's what we're, incorporating into the health.
Then you must go for admission.
Now, the point is this: you can't always be too wrong when you speak to a doctor with a bit of experience. You can't always be too wrong because you ask you the question: are you using this drug? Are you using that drug? You cannot combine this and this because they're drug interaction. Okay, so for now, let's love our body. Try to talk to a medical practitioner. All those simple things that we're supposed to do to keep our body well.
You have transferred the depression to us.
No, don't be depressed. Don't be depressed. I've told you, so just take action, It's good to have money. I pray that we have as much money as we have. It's good to have beautiful houses and beautiful cars and be able to travel and all. But you need body. You need body. I've not seen Holy Spirit acted out of the body.
BC. No, I was going to joke with doctor that BC acts out of the body because she have universe and all this.
She won't
I still need body.
You need body. And the body must be healthy because even when your soul or spirit is inhabiting a terrible body, you just say, I'm tired.
You can't even manifest anything.
He said, I am tired. Let this thing go. It just wind you down. The body just wind you down. So we need, if you say, stand up and walk a bit, do it now. What is the big deal about walking a bit? If they say drink more of water, drink now. Okay? If they say take fruit, take now.
My husband always laughs at me, say, Mariel, I don't want to be stressed. When we're old, you don't stress me. Every day you see me there waking up 5 o'clock to go and exercise. You're here sleeping. I'm always sleeping.
Please stand up.
Honestly, it's a lot of work.
When you've done that for a few months, you won't be able to go to stop.
Yes, you won't stop.
The critical point is for you to, to start and stay with it for that short period. When you don't do, you say, oh, I've not exercised. You stand up quickly, say, let me go and do. Even here, you start doing your leg like
becomes
this.
a good habit.
We have to wrap up, but thank you so much, Dr. Tuyi, for coming to, in fact, we need to bring you back because what I like about your analysis, you bring it home to reality, which is always important for us to know the next steps. So we'll definitely have to bring you back very soon. But thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insights on this.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime. So please love your body.
Yeah.
Love your body. And
Okay, that's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.